Hello and welcome to Radiant and Inspiring TV. I am Kylie Anderson, your host, and I'm so excited to bring to you episode 1 with the very beautiful Steph Demetrious. Steph is a dear friend of mine and I feel so blessed to have her in my life. She is my go-to woman with everything intuition and spirituality. She always has the answer or some support or guidance for me. She's just absolutely amazing and I can't wait to get stuck into this interview today. Steph is a mummy, a wife, and a heart-centered self-discovery and spiritual teacher grounded in the practices of kinesiology and Reiki and infused with intuitive healing. Steph is a speaker, writer, creator, and a student of the universe. She is a big believer in walking her talk and is constantly curious about the contrast we experience in life. She devotedly practices the tools she teaches to learn the lessons that allow her to move through life's dis-ease, making way for her to wholeheartedly honor and action her intuition and unwavering trust. Steph's message is all about learning to listen, trust, and honor your intuition. Every answer we seek is within us. There is not one question that we cannot feel the answer to. And if we take the time to get to know our inner guru, I believe we all have a divinely unique light of purpose, love, and bliss that lies within. It's when we find the courage to let go of the conditioned beliefs, thoughts, and shoulds and journey within that we truly connect with our authentic, intuitive magic and experience the true bliss and limitless possibilities of life. Steph is just absolutely awesome, and let's get straight into this interview. You are going to get some real gems. Enjoy! Hi Steph, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you as episode 1 of my new Radiant and Inspiring TV series. Yay! So let's get straight into it. Before this our interview, I already read out your little bio, so everybody watching has a little bit of an idea on who you are and what you do. But I would love for you to tell us, who is Steph? What does she do? What does she love? What does your life look like?
Okay, wow. That's a really big question.
It is.
Um, so for me, life looks very different to what it did even a handful of years ago. So I suppose, gosh, going back to what got me to where I am now is that, well, now I am a kinesiologist and a Reiki practitioner and an intuitive healer. I'm also a mum of two, and a wife and, and a friend and daughter and everything else that goes along with life. But I didn't always do those things for work. So for me, I started off my career in more the physical kind of arena. So I was a myotherapist originally, and then I did Pilates and personal training. So this has gone back about 15 years. So I sort of started off in the workforce in that kind of really kind of injury prevention kind of scene. And I've always loved everything that I've done for work in those sort of fields. So for me, I was just so passionate about helping people get over their injuries and teaching them, really educating them how to look after themselves, from the physical aspect of nutrition and exercise and, regular kind of tools to take care of themselves. But then also the mindset kind of started to come into it. And then I actually injured myself and did everything that I taught and everything that I was teaching other people. I was practicing that too. And then that's actually I found kinesiology was because I'd injured myself. I was training for a half marathon,
Oh, wow.
and then I injured myself. Yeah, I know, crazy. But I loved it. I've always been a runner, and I was training for this half marathon, and I injured myself, and I did all the rehab to the letter. I followed it exactly, what I was meant to do, and I had 6 months off, and then I just missed it so much, and I decided I'd start running again. So this one day, and I'll never forget it, I was walking out the front door to go for a run, and instantly I thought, what if that pain comes back? And in that moment, I brought up that old energy pattern of that pain, and I started to run, and from the first step, I felt the pain again.
Oh, wow.
And I was just kind of, I started running thinking, oh my gosh, I've done everything I possibly can do physically, and I've sought all sorts of different treatment for it as well, not just my own. And then I kind of thought, I brought that on myself. That was from my mind. It's not a physical thing. I'm feeling it physically, but I just felt like I'd brought up something by thinking I was going to have the pain there again. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to go and see someone who deals with the mind and the subconscious and that kind of side of things because I knew I'd done everything on the physical side. So that's where I found kinesiology. And one of my close friends, her sister was studying kinesiology, and I was really fascinated by it. And we had many conversations, and I was always really interested. And I suppose this kind of gave me permission to go to her because I had something wrong. Not that you need something wrong to go to a kinesiologist, but
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to. So I went to her. I had one session, and I sat up on the table at the end. And the first thing I noticed was my mind was completely empty.
Wow.
There was just not one thought. And I've always been very much in my head kind of person, overthinking everything. So to sit there and to have nothing in my mind it was quite mind blowing, and it felt amazing. I was like, oh my God, I just don't want that to come back, business to come back again.
Mm.
And the second thing was the next day I went for a run. I didn't have a pain, and I've never had that pain back again.
That's just incredible,
Which,
isn't it?
it blows my mind even now thinking about it. And for me, as you know, just personally, I was just I couldn't even put into words how amazed I was. But then, as a physical practitioner, I was thinking, what are my clients missing out on? Like I'm helping them with the whole physical side of things, but there's this whole energetic and the deeper mental side and emotional side that I can help them with. And I just became obsessed, and I started setting it all the time for everything from stress to anxiety to the stress around planning a wedding, all that kind of thing. And yeah, I just started to see it quite regularly, and I just fell in love with kinesiology, and I just became obsessed with it. And then I decided about a year later I'm going to study it, and then I studied it, and then I did my Reiki one a couple of years ago, and so that kind of started to transform my change into what I do now. But it was through having my kids that really opened up my intuition, which is what I'm all about. I'm all about listening to that voice within and, working with your ego so that you can silence your ego a little bit and let that go and start to really action and honor your intuition, because I believe that our intuition is really just our soul's way of telling us what we're here to do and, what we're here to learn this lifetime. And yeah, that just became the last 2 years became this really conscious journey of me honoring, I wouldn't say every single call, but like 90% of my intuitive callings, I've honored them, even if my mind judges them as crazy.
Yeah.
And I find the crazy ones generally are the most fun because they're the ones that are so far out of my comfort zone that when I do it, I'm so proud of myself because it felt so uncomfortable to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of been my journey to where I am now. So
I love it. I love it because you're like this whole mind, body, spirit person because you did have the physical side. Myself being a personal trainer as well, it is very physical, but now that you're going into the more mind stuff, I love that you have that holistic approach to it as well. You're not just kinesiology or Reiki, everything all around it. And I think that's really beautiful. So beautiful. So with kinesiology and Reiki, can you give us a little bit of, I suppose, explanation on what each of them are and how they differ?
yeah, so kinesiology works on finding basically stresses in the body. So finding out the emotions that are causing us from having that kind of malalignment with what we want to do in life. So I'm at the moment I kind of see these visions of our energy field kind of being in our body. It's kind of almost like this tube. And when our energy is really clear, and I suppose this is kind of combining Reiki a bit as well, but when our energy is really clear and when we're really balanced, it's almost like that tube is it's clear on the inside, and it allows our energy to flow through easily. And when our energy flows through easily, we don't question things. We start to trust that intuition more, and we start to live in line with our intuition, which is what feels really good in life. And for me, what clogs up that kind of tube and stops us from trusting that is emotions. So, and that's really where kinesiology comes in. So kinesiology is all about identifying the emotions that are creating that kind of dis-ease or that unease that we feel that's stopping us from stepping out and taking those actions in line with what we want in life. So another way of talking about it is it's like if you have an affirmation or you've been thinking these thoughts of I don't have enough, I'm lacking in whatever area in life, you might be constantly thinking I don't have enough time. I just don't have enough time. And affirmations are fantastic, but I'm a big believer that with affirmations, we need to physically and energetically align with them for them to start to work.
I love that.
So
So true.
yeah, so if I just go, if I'm constantly telling myself, and I've got these thoughts going in my head of I'm lacking in time, I don't have enough time, and then all of a sudden I start to completely switch it and say I'm abundant in time, I have plenty of time. If I don't energetically align with that, it's actually going to create more stress because I'm trying to believe it. Like you can try with anything in life. If you're thinking, if you constantly got this thought of one thing and then you try to flip it, if you start to believe that opposing thought without doing any energetic alignment, it's actually, yeah, like I said, going to create more stress because you're trying to align with it. But without your energy in that alignment, it's just going to feel harder and harder. So that's where kinesiology comes in. And kinesiology finds the emotion that is stopping you from believing what you want to believe. So it's finding that emotion that's blocking me from believing I'm abundant in time and I have all the time that I need. And then through a whole lot of different tools, we actually disable that emotion and we kind of dissolve it and let it go so that then you're standing in that truth of I am abundant in time and it feels completely different.
Wow.
And you can even try that now if you think about something, any thought, any maybe a negative thought that you're feeling, even close your eyes and feel into that and then try that with the opposing and see what your body tells you. And I'm just a big believer in our bodies tell us through our energy everything we need to know. And I think we're so busy in this society that it's very rare for us to actually stop and listen to our body's response to everything on the external world, but also our internal world too. Like our thoughts, we have roughly 75,000 thoughts a day, which is ridiculous in itself.
Yeah.
It's like you can live a whole other life to deal with these thoughts. But then, less than 5% of those are original. So what are those thoughts that are going around in your mind? Like, what are those ones on repeat? Are they thoughts that make you feel good or are they thoughts that make you not feel so good? So yeah, kinesiology can actually help you shrink the amount of not so good feeling ones and empower more better feeling ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of a tool to help make that shift. And then the Reiki comes in as well. So the Reiki is all about our chakras and aligning those energies. And I sort of combine the two. I don't really do them exclusive of one another. I just combine the two. And then my own intuition comes in a lot too with all of my sessions. And that was something that I denied myself of and I pushed away, was that intuitive side for, gosh, like 30 years of my life. It's only been the last few years that I've really allowed myself the time to acknowledge that side of me and to accept it. Accepting it was huge for me because I thought it was really strange that I saw images and, I knew things and then it happened. I didn't understand that side of me until a few years ago. And yeah, I kind of made this conscious effort over the last 2 years to really follow that intuition and really start to understand my inner world. And that's kind of, I suppose, spiritual side of me. And all spirituality means to me is honouring that call within that we all have. So
I love that.
Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I love that because I'm very intuitive as well. And for most of my life, I kind of denied it or kept it to myself because I thought it was strange and weird that I would, have these feelings about things or whatever. And yeah, so it's just been really beautiful to learn from you as well because you're definitely my go-to girl with spirituality stuff. If I had a weird experience, I'm on the phone to you saying, Steph, is this normal? What does it mean?
Yeah,
so yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, there's not much as weird to me anymore.
It's good because I know that I can go to you with my weird stuff and know that it's not weird to you and me. It's beautiful.
I know we're so far down that rabbit hole. It's just everything's normal.
Absolutely, I love it. So I would love for you to share 3 fun facts about you that people might be surprised to know.
3 fun facts. I was thinking about this. One of them is I'm obsessed with tea. I've actually got my little tea here with me.
Oh.
I love tea. I've always loved it. And it's only really been the last couple of years that I've realised how grounding it is for me. And that's why I've always, like my whole life, I've always been obsessed with tea. So one weird fact about me is that I collect teapots.
Do you? I didn't know that about you. I love it.
So I'm actually sitting in my shed here, which is very soon to be made into a proper office. But yeah, I've got like boxes of, of
Wow.
storage boxes of teapots. And yeah, my husband's like, if you bring one more teapot into this house, I'm going to start breaking them.
I love
But I
it.
love them. I love them. I've got like elephant teapots and all sorts of really kooky stuff.
That's
But
cool.
I love my tea, and it's a real ritual for me, and that's why I love teapots because it's yeah, and I think being a mum too, allowing myself that time to have that ritual every day is it's just one little self love tool that I use. So I kind of tie my teapots into my spirituality.
I love it. Woohoo!
And as for two more, oh gosh, two more facts. Well, I think one kind of extreme one was that, and I don't know, I did Bikram yoga for about 18 months. Became completely obsessed with that. And so many of my friends and family were like, why are you doing this? And I was just like, I'm one of these people. And I suppose this is another fact that I'm one of those people who I go to the extremes.
Mhm.
So I will, everything that I talk about and I teach, it's been tried and tested. So I will go to those extremes of say not trusting my intuition and try and, doing everything from my mind and see how that goes. And then I'll go to the other and I'll go, no, no, my mind's not serving me. I'll just trust I'll try and just do the intuitive stuff. And then I'll go, okay, I'll come back to the middle. So I'm very much someone who kind of follows that path of really trying things out because I like to experience things to fully understand them.
Love
And
that.
there are definitely some things out there that I don't want to experience to fully. I'm not at all asking the universe for that, but some things that I like to try both ends of the scale and then find that equilibrium in the middle, which it always comes back to that. Sometimes I forget that and I'll be like, no, no, it's got to be this way, it's got to be that way, but every single time it comes back to that equilibrium.
Beautiful.
So Bikram for me was one of those things that I did my first session and I can remember just struggling through it. But there was something, I love a good challenge and I was like, no, I need to do this again. And then, and then it just became an addiction. And I think I have a bit of an addictive personality when it comes to following my curiosities. Um, I've always just kind of jumped from one thing to the other, like learning the guitar to sketching to trying to teach myself the harmonica to, 18 months of Bikram yoga, whatever it is. Like I just feel these desires and I do them. And
Yeah.
I actually think that's been a really big part of me, starting to follow my intuition and allowing my, what I'm here to do this lifetime to unfold is actually by following those curiosities. And
I love that.
yeah, and
How fun. It's like
yeah,
fun right there. I think it's awesome. So
there are
cool.
definitely times though that I'll kind of be like, why can't you stick to one thing, This kind of, this voice comes in, it's like, I'm always guilty that I'm trying all these things, but I just get bored and I'm like, oh, no, I'll try something else now. And, something else kind of glittery sparkles and I'll go try that. So, yeah.
I love it. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
So, how has becoming a mum changed your life? So, the good, the bad, the honest stuff.
Yeah. In so many ways. Like, it's been something I've wanted my whole life. Like, ever since I was a little kid, I've always loved little kids and babies, and I always knew I was going to be a mum, and I couldn't wait for that time. I think for me, being someone who was very, very planned and very much a routine person, that was the biggest thing I had to learn, and I've really struggled with going with the flow. I was always like, my whole life's planned out, and I struggled if things got in the
Me
way, and
too. Me
yeah,
too.
it's such a big lesson. These little human beings come into your life, and you can have routines and that kind of thing, but it's you just have to go with the flow. There's no other option with little kids, really. I think, or babies. So that's really been a huge lesson in just surrendering and just go with it, and kind of breaking down those really tight constraints of needing to be a certain way, or planning and freaking out if plans change, and just learning to be soft on myself and knowing that if plans have to change at a moment's notice, as long as I'm okay with that and the kids are okay, everything else will just fall into place as it needs to. And people understand, when you've got kids as well, that if something comes up or they get sick or, something happens, that things have to just change. So, yeah, I think that's probably one of my biggest struggles. And definitely my biggest struggle having two was when my daughter came along, who's now almost 9 months old, was sharing my attention between the two. I didn't really have much other mummy guilt. I didn't really have any with my son, but definitely with when my daughter came along, because I'd had 2 years with my son, giving him full attention.
Mm.
It was like, I felt like I was taking away from him, and then I felt like I wasn't giving my daughter enough. And I just, I would just beat myself up until I realized, hang on a second, she doesn't know any different. She's sharing, she's sharing attention with her brother, and she's starting to play with her brother too. So they've got the attention of each
Oh,
other. And,
that's so cute.
and then, I've always taught my son to be independent. So I've always had this kind of idea of giving him a little bit of playtime every single day where he plays by himself. So it's just kind of him expanding on that. And, I suppose it's just that flow and effect of them starting to become a little bit more independent as well as they get a bit older. And yeah, it was one of those big things that I had to accept, and I had to let go because it was my idea of how I needed it to be again. Going with the flow was wanting to give them both the same amount of attention, which you just can't when you've got two. So, but yeah, they'd probably be the struggles, but I just love it. Like, they just light my life up, and I just can't imagine my life without them now. They're just the most, I just love it. I wouldn't change a thing.
That's
It's good, the bad, ugly, it all makes the whole experience. But sometimes definitely a bit more sleep wouldn't go astray. But
True.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Of course, I love that. I've always thought with with having like 2 or 3 or however many people, kids people have, just the attention gets less and less for each new one you get. So it's really interesting to hear you say how you manage that. And like you said, your daughter doesn't know any different. All she knows is sharing with your son. That's what she knows. So it's more him, I suppose. He's the one that knows, well, the attention used to all be on me and now I have to share it with my little sister. But I'm sure you deal with it beautifully. I'm sure that he wouldn't even know. And I'm sure he loves his little sister.
He does, which is beautiful. And I definitely have my moments. I have my moments where, God, last week we'd all been sick for like 4 days, and we just spent the whole time inside, and I don't know how many movies we watched, but having a 2.5-year-old sick for 4 days stuck inside, he just got to the stage where he wanted to get out, and it was raining, and just the weather wasn't really permitting us getting out, and I was still not feeling great. So we just got into this kind of this state where I was taking care of myself as much as I could, but I wasn't on top of my emotions and things like that. So I had a moment where I snapped at him and I was like, will you just sit on the couch? I just need to do this. And then I went, okay, I need to stop and I need to take a deep breath and, what's going on in here? Because he hasn't done anything wrong. It's what's going on in here. Like, what's going on in my internal world that's making me act out like that. And straight away I was like, I'm so sorry. You didn't do anything wrong. Mummy shouldn't have yelled at you. And yeah, I'm kind of big for having those conversations as well with him, I think. And both of my kids, that if something happens and I kind of, momentarily lose my temper or yell at them or whatever, I'm really big on just saying, you haven't done anything wrong, I shouldn't have done that. And actually talking to them about that situation, because I think it's really important just for them to understand that, and even for their emotional intelligence as they grow up to, to have those open conversations from even a really young age, because gosh, they understand so much more than what we give them credit for. Even my 9-month-old, she's just, I don't know, I think they just understand so much more than what we think they can.
Definitely. Yeah, I love that, because I think it's a big thing that us mums need to start to do. We're quick to sometimes lose our shit at our kids, and I know with me, I'll get frustrated, and like you, I now have learnt to stop and just say, hang on, Kylie, and check in with myself. What's going on for me right now? Is it that I'm tired or whatever? And, Ava does not understand, or she understands me, but, I apologize to her as well, even though she probably is like, whatever, Mum. But yeah, just being able to stop and check in with yourself, I think, is such a big thing, because if you don't, then it's just going to sit there and you're just going to keep doing it. And I think that's where mums it just builds up and can end up being worse than if you just stop at that first time that you do it and check in with yourself. So I love that you brought that up. I think that's really important. It's perfect.
I think even giving us permission, like, I think that, I know I had this belief that I had to let go of pretty quickly. Well, I wanted to let go of pretty quickly, was that I'm a mum. I need to be a mum 24/7. Yeah. And I struggled with that because I've always been someone who's loved my me time. I've loved quiet time my whole life. Like, I've always loved space to myself. And then all of a sudden having this human being that's reliant on you 100%, you kind of give us that time, I suppose. I mean, it comes back to you in so many different ways because, they're just amazing little beings. But then also knowing that it's okay for me to have time out and just be me and not be mum.
Yeah.
It's okay for me to, put my earphones on, put my podcast on and go for a bike ride because that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm not in compromising, family time and all that kind of thing, fitting it in with all that and molding it all in together, but making sure that, you don't have those guilt, or if you do, allow yourself to acknowledge them and actually let them go and know that it's just as important for you to be you as it is to be a mum. And
Definitely.
to top that cup up for me, it makes me a better mum when I have that balance of me time and honouring what I want to do for me. I'm a better mum, I'm a better wife. I don't snap, I don't get grumpy. I'm just a nicer person to be around. When I'm
Yes. I love that. Yes, I was the same. I always loved my alone time and me time and all that. And then becoming a mum, I made a promise to myself that I would still allow myself to have that time because I know that I need it for me. Because, like you said, otherwise you become a bitch to your partner and then the kids and the people around you. You just become not a nice person. So even if you can take 10 15 minutes a day to sit down and enjoy your cup of tea or read a quick book or something, oh my God, it's so important as a mum to do that, and we need to be okay with allowing ourselves to do that too. So thank you for bringing that up too. So important. Love it. So can you share a particular moment in your life that has changed your life completely?
I actually think becoming pregnant.
Yeah.
And for me, it changed my life in the way that I had to deal with my number one fear, which was giving birth. Like I feared giving birth more than dying. It was my biggest fear.
Yeah.
So for me, it kind of, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I was like, right, I meditated every single day to try and, diffuse those thoughts from my ego. And I went and I had kinesiology sessions. I had energetic healing sessions. I did everything I could to work on that. I did calm birthing courses. I had a doula. And for me, becoming pregnant was the start of, it wasn't the start of, well, it was really the start of me starting to really listen to my intuition and really starting to honor it. Because up until then, I'd actually kept pushing it away. But when I got pregnant, I think just because of having this little being inside me, the call got louder and louder and louder, and I couldn't ignore it. Like it became so loud that it became more uncomfortable to ignore it than it did to start to actually honor it and listen to it. So one of the very first intuitive callings I followed was actually getting a doula for my birth.
Wow.
And the doula is a birthing woman's support. So it was having someone else there in the birth who's done it before and who can say those things to help bring me back into my mental focus, or who can, at a time where I was like, I can't do this anymore, she would say to me, just look at the little bassinet over there, your baby's going to be here so soon. And, just bring that focus back and have someone there with me the whole time who could offer me a bit of that support in a situation that was so unknown and to me was so scary, which it really doesn't need to be. So that was kind of the first time I really trusted my intuition, and I felt uncomfortable about it because my head was saying to me, well, I don't know anyone else had a doula. Is this a weird thing to have? Like, all those stupid thoughts that you go through at us.
Yeah.
And so I kept questioning it, but then my gut would get louder and be like, you need this, you need this. And I found this beautiful doula, and she's been at both my births, and if I have more kids, there's not a question of her being there. She's just like the last piece of my birthing team puzzle. And she was sort of the first, having her there was the first big thing that I trusted with trusting my intuition. And then it kind of became this snowball effect of feeling the outcome of trusting my intuition, having her there. Like it just gave me so much ease and so much peace and helped me so much. And even after the birth and then, my second birth with my daughter, it just, I think it just gave me that external support that I needed. And then just having kids as well, like it's really ignited my intuition. It really allowed me to start to trust more, and I think by trusting a bit more, then I started to find it easier to action my intuition, and then I'd action it, and then I would see the result and go, oh my God, it worked when I trusted it. It would increase my trust, and it kind of just kept going around, and so I think having kids for me was a big pivotal point in my life for allowing me to trust my intuition, allowing me to changed my focus on my business, more of this energetic side. And yeah, I think it's a huge part of why I'm doing what I am now. I think if I didn't have my kids, I think I wouldn't have listened to that voice, like I did. So yeah.
That's so beautiful. I love the idea of a doula, and it's something that I would love to be able to explore and become a doula myself when I'm a bit older. I've said to my hubby it's something I'd like to do in my 5-year plan or something. That once we're finished having kids and they're a bit older, where I can be on call. Because I just loved the
You're
birth.
such a beautiful doula. I can so see.
Thank you. I just love the whole birthing process and just new life coming into the world, and just being able to, have the spirituality that I love and be able to help a woman go through that in the most important part of their life, I think is beautiful. So, yeah, I love a doula. Good job.
Yeah, it is even birthing is such an incredible experience. Like, I felt so grateful to be able to get pregnant, but then to go through that birthing process was just like, it changes, I get goosebumps thinking about it. For me, it just changed my life in so many different ways. Even, from this point of view of, I can remember after I had my son, I can remember lying there cuddling him and sort of passing him around. And for the first hour, I kept saying, I did it, I did it, I did it. Like, I couldn't stop saying, oh my God, I did it. Because my whole life I'd been so scared of it. Because I watched the movies, I bought into the Hollywood stories of, screaming in this, horrendous scene. I bought into that, and I thought that's how it was to be. And then through the time I let that go. But yeah, having experienced it, it was physically, exhausting and draining and all of that. But at the same time was like the most empowering experience I've ever had.
Yeah.
And just like, the most proudest of myself I've ever been. And it was just, to actually sit in reflection and feel those things is just, I think as a woman, it's just a human being. It's amazing.
Oh, that's so cool. Amazing. I love it. I love the birth process. It's so cool. It's beautiful. So with your spirituality, what do you have any rituals or routines that you have that you do in your life every day to keep yourself grounded and in tune with your intuition?
Yeah, totally. I am like Mrs. Ritual. I love my rituals. I'm constantly talking about rituals, but I love it. Every single day I actually haven't got sitting here. I had this little bag, and this is like my spiritual first aid kit.
I love that. That's awesome.
And it is my bag just for me. So no kids' toys, no nappies, no wraps, no bibs, nothing gets in there. It's like my little space for me, and I take it everywhere I go. So I've actually got crystals in there. I love my crystal. I love the energy. I love the symbolism. I think it's so beautiful. And just for so many different things, for self-love, for energetic protection, for staying in touch with my intuition, for balancing, all those sorts of things. So I have crystals in there. I have a little journal in there as well. If I ever, if I'm somewhere and the kids are asleep in the car and I've got 5 minutes and I just feel like I want to journal something out or write something down, or, I'm constantly kind of getting these download ideas. So I just need something to, write them all down on. I have essential oil rollers as well. So I love essential oils, and I use those as my perfume. So for me, I really try to infuse my rituals in during the day as much as possible. So I use my oils as my perfume. I put them on first thing in the morning. I also, if I'm home when the kids are napping as well, the first thing I do after I put the kids down is I grab my earphones, and generally it's a really big crystal that I meditate with, and I go straight to the couch and I meditate. And that's the first thing that I do. Like, before doing the dishes, before doing the washing, before cooking dinner, the first thing I do. Because even if it's 5 minutes, I know that tops me up. So if we've had a busy morning, been doing things, and if I just don't stop and I keep going, by the time it hits like dinner time, I'm exhausted and I'm a bit grumpy and all that kind of thing. So I find if I have that time sort of in the early afternoon just to stop and have, at least 5 minutes for myself, most times that ends up being like about half an hour. Just to myself. So yeah, I try to make rituals just a part of my everyday, and just really, just keep revisiting them during the day rather than kind of having one big block. Because I find for me, I will go, right, I would love to meditate for an hour today. Now that's probably not going to happen, especially with 2 kids as well. So if I set that expectation for 1 hour and I don't have an hour, I won't do anything. I won't even do 5 minutes. So I just
Mm.
say, right, I'm just going to give myself a minute or two, you know, it's kind of irregular intervals during the day, and at least do that meditation at lunchtime or before my head hits the pillow at the end of the day. So, but
Beautiful.
yeah, I find for me, if I stop doing my rituals for whatever reason, which doesn't really happen that often now, but if I do, I find I go out of whack straight away. Like I find the universe will just start throwing stuff at me. So it'll either, I'll either lose my keys or, just the energy will be out of whack, and I'll start to get a bit moody, and I'll start to kind of, not feel like myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I find, rituals just help me stay in touch with my intuition and help keep me grounded and just help give me so much peace and calm. Like I actually, looking back now, I used to think I was a really peaceful, relaxed person, but I so wasn't. I was so, yeah, like my ego ruled my life for
Yeah.
like 30 years of my life. My ego ruled my life through fear, like fear of not doing things, fear of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was when I really started to tap into my own spirituality and honor it and action it through regular rituals that just this peace started to come along, and through meditation and essential oils and crystals. And yeah, I could talk for hours about this stuff, but I love it. I love it. Yeah, I would recommend everyone having, at least one little self-love ritual every single day. And we can all find 5 minutes. Whether you
Right.
wake up 5 minutes early or whether as soon as you put the kids to bed at night time, you go into your little space and you just do it for 5 minutes. And one of the things I find too, even when I meditate, is that even if I'm lying there and my head's saying, oh, you should be doing the washing, you should be, I kind of just go, no, I need to be here. I love myself enough to be here. And I find like a little mantra that helps me stay in that moment. And those thoughts then start to just die off. So I think if we're constantly listening to that ego, it's just a matter of starting to turn that voice down a little bit and, finding self-love to create those rituals as well.
Yeah, beautiful. I've
What
got
about you? What rituals do you
my
do?
rituals. You've actually inspired me a lot with my rituals, so thank you, Steph. I've got my
Oh,
little goddess roller that you gave me, and that's my perfume that I put on every morning. So I have my shower, get ready, and that's my perfume, and I feel like a goddess with that. It puts me in a good space to sniff in that, so that's cool. I have an alarm that's on my phone every single day for about 3:30, which is usually when I know Ava's having a nap, and that's when I meditate. So I saw a picture of you on Instagram meditating like a couple of months ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to do that more, because I've been a sporadic meditator. Like I think it's a great idea, but I can
yeah,
never
yeah, yeah,
commit to
yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
seeing you doing that, I'm like, all right, I'm going to give this a go. So I still don't do it every day, but I do it so much more than what I did. So I'm slowly getting there. And then of a night time, I have my little like going to bed ritual. So I'll like take off my makeup. I put on essential oil. I usually have lavender or serenity if people are doTERRA fans. And
Beautiful.
I'll do my gratitude, so whatever I'm thankful for the day, and then I read or something just to clear my head. And they're my little things that I do most days. Most days.
Awesome.
So important
Ah,
though. So
oh, it
important.
is. And another thing I just wanted to say as well is that I haven't always done these every single day.
Mm.
Like I started meditating when I was about 15, but having said that, I'm 33 now. I haven't been meditating for about 18 years.
Yeah.
Full on. Like I would meditate for like a month, maybe every day, and then like maybe not for 6 months,
Yeah, that
and then
wasn't
again I'd
me.
do it for 2 months, and then not for another year or something. But it's been
Yeah.
the last 2 years, yeah, pretty much since I got pregnant the first time. I would have meditated, my son's just over 2.5, and I'd probably say in that 2.5 years I would have meditated 90% of the days. But it took me, it's taken me 18 years to get to that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, even the last couple of years, it's working through those limitations that come up too. So, and I think sometimes we stop doing our rituals and we stop doing the things that make us feel good, just so we can realize, whoa, in the absence of them, I don't feel so good. So when I do them, I know I feel good. So I think
Yes.
sometimes we almost need that reminder of, oh, why am I doing these things constantly? Just actually stop doing it for 2 days and see how you feel.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's a great gauge.
I've learned the lesson enough now to know that I just keep doing them now every single day, because
Yeah.
if I don't, do those things, then yeah, everything goes out of whack, and yeah. It's much more fun when I do them. So
Definitely. Life flows a lot easier and you get out of your head, I think. It's
it
just so
really
much
does.
better. So definitely recommend self-care rituals. I'm all for them too.
I will.
So, being a working mum, how what are some strategies, I suppose, that you do having your own business, being a wife and being a mum? Do you have like one or two strategies that you find really help you to balance? I don't really like the word balance because balance can be
Mm.
difficult, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Gosh, I think I'm feeling like boundaries is a big one at the moment, especially for me because my work's changed a lot from being in the clinic to doing my own thing now. So I come out into my shared office sort of for a day and a half every week. I have babysitters for the kids organised every week. And this to me started at the start of the year, and I was like, what do I do? Like, I go into the clinic, and I still am at the clinic for half a day at the moment, but I'd go into the clinic, I'd see my clients, I'd write the notes, I'd chat to the reception girls, I'd clean my room at the end of the day, and I'd leave. And I knew that process so well. So for me, it's been a big change, and I think boundaries is really big. And especially working from home too, like it's actually saying to whoever's coming around to have the kids, it's actually saying, okay, and even to the kids saying, look, mum's working. I'm going to come out at morning tea time, we'll have that together, we'll have lunch together or whatever, but actually just kind of saying, separating the two, especially because it's at home and my little son can just run out and knock on that door and come right in
Yes.
at a moment's notice. So it's kind of been actually setting boundaries and being okay with that, like letting go of the guilt, knowing that it's important for me to do this work and I'm helping people as well. So, kind of allowing myself to release that guilt and know that it's okay for me to have that time away from my kids. So I think one of the big things is just continue to work on yourself. And it's one of the things that I keep doing as well is I continue to keep whatever, those restrictions and that internal dialogue or those blocks that keep coming up or those doubts and those fears, just keep working on them and keep acknowledging them and letting them go, and then everything flows a whole lot easier. So I think the only thing that ever stops us is that it's when we label emotions and we grab onto them and we start labeling things, and then that starts to create that blockage of that energy. So
Definitely.
yeah, so for me, boundaries is a really big thing, and being okay to set boundaries and just set, boundaries with love too. Try not to set boundaries out of fear. So boundaries with love to me is like, okay, I'm going to go out to the shed. I'm going to work for 2 hours, and then I'll come back in, and then I'll tell them that I'll be like, I need to do this for me, and I need to do this for my business and for our family, for that greater good as well. So setting those boundaries from a loving place rather than like a fear place, I suppose, rather than like, oh, everyone else is doing this, this is what I should do. Or, it's setting those boundaries from your internal compass in your internal world and your needs, because everyone's different. So, one thing I'm starting to delve into as well is meal planning my dinners.
Love meal plans. They are
oh my God.
best.
I've resisted it for so long, and I'm just like, I get to the end of the day and I'm just like, I've got no inspiration to cook something, or I can't be bothered, or I just don't have time. So now I'm like, right, plan it, and starting to do that. So that's kind of putting my mind at ease, because it's not this thing in the back all day going, what are you going to cook for dinner? Do you have to go defrost something? You have to go buy something? What do you? It just kind of, it takes care of that little internal dialogue by planning that. And I think for me, it's the constant listening to my intuition and knowing that when I come into my business and I come into work time, I might have this list of things that I have to do, but even then I'll still use my intuition with that list and go, right, what am I feeling excited about creating today? When I'm, apart from obviously, booked in client sessions or when I'm doing things for other people, always scheduled in. But in the other time around that, which I block out as well, I block out that time for me to create things, because I've learned that if I don't, I just fill it. I fill it with things for other people or with random stuff that isn't really important. So if I actually block in time in my diary that 2 hours of creative time, have nothing in there, and then just see, have trusted intuition as to what feels right to create, then that's when my best work comes through, and that's when it comes through easy and it flows, and it just happens, and it's not from a mind side of I need to do this or I should be doing this or other people are doing this so I should do that. It's actually, for me, letting go of those boxes of what I think I should be doing and doing what I feel right for me 100%.
Definitely.
I think that's what's changed, allowed me to change my business direction and has opened up so many doors just by trusting this 100% and actioning it too. So, and getting out of my own way. So, that self-care that helps to turn that ego's voice down, and then this intuition gets louder.
Perfect. I love that. It's so beautiful. So with I'd love for you to share something that the ladies watching can put in their spiritual toolkit, I suppose. What is something that you can quickly share?
Well, I think one thing that's been very grounding for me is something that came through journaling for me. And journaling is a tool I resisted for a long time, but now when I do it, and I don't do it every day, and I took that pressure off myself doing it every day because I just didn't, and then I feel guilty because I didn't.
Mm.
But this tool that came through the journaling for me was my 4-step guide to ignite your intuition. And it's 4 steps that I didn't even realize I was following. So I kind of started to trust my intuition blindly. And I started to kind of, I started to listen, and then I'd go, okay, so this is what I'm hearing. And then I'd start to go, okay, I'm going to make a bit of space to let that unfold. And then I'm just going to trust that this is what I'm meant to do. Even though my ego is telling me don't do it, I'm going to start trusting. And then I'd actually start to action it. So this 4-step process, I didn't even realize I was doing it, but it came through when I started to journal, and it came through, I believe, for me, because I think that's one of the things I'm here to teach in this lifetime is how to reconnect to your intuition. Mm. So the 4 steps of that are, and I have it printed and I have it in my handbag everywhere I go.
Beautiful.
So
I love it.
It's really simple, and I feel like it's just like a nice little framework that can help you learn to tap back into your intuition. But it can also help you with a lot of other things in life, like when we're going through change, especially being a mum, everything's constantly changing. Our kids are growing and becoming more independent and going through different stages, and we're changing as well. So there's this constant, I read this beautiful quote that the only constant thing in life is change.
Oh my God, how true is that? Oh, so true.
When you stop to think about it, it's like, oh my God, it is.
Yeah.
The constant thing is change. Nothing stays the same, as much as our minds tell us, oh my God, it's going to be like this forever. Like, those first few months of not getting a lot of sleep with babies and that kind of thing. Oh my God, it's going to be like this forever. It's not going to be like that forever. It changes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so it's become a tool for me that I anchor into all the time, and I have it in my bag. Like, it's actually in my handbag all the time. Yeah. Because I refer to it. I know it, but sometimes even just seeing it in my handbag reminds me of it. It just reminds me, go back to your 4 steps. Don't get all up in your mind about it. Yeah. So the 4 steps, really quickly, to acknowledge is the first step. And the second step is create space. The third step is trust. And the 4th step is to action. Perfect. And yeah, they're really simple steps, but it ended up unfolding as my framework for reconnecting with my intuition. So yeah, for me, it's a really simple tool, and it's just something that I think on this self-discovery and spiritual journey and this inward journey, there are going to be times where we're expanding when it's going to be uncomfortable. Just because we're challenging our ego and we're stepping out of that comfort zone which our ego doesn't like. So our ego tries to make it uncomfortable for us, sort of mentally and physically and energetically as well. So for me, the four steps that I use them every day personally, but the 4 steps kind of gives you a bit of framework and helps you figure out where you are in that kind of cycle of expansion, because I believe we're just continually expanding and expanding. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it just kind of softens that discomfort with expansion and just, helps us to understand where we are and how we can support ourselves more. When we understand where we are in that sort of cycle, we can then understand, our patterns and how to support ourselves better, so that then again it even softens it a bit more, so it's not such a big, tough jump out of the comfort zone. It kind of just makes it a little bit easier.
Beautiful. And do you have that on your website that the ladies can go and find out more about?
Yeah. I do. It's the opt-in for my newsletter. So if you join my tribe, you get that sent out to you, and I send out fortnightly emails as well with all sorts of my rituals and all sorts of things. And I'm actually making a little a video series for it as well that goes deeper into each of the 4 steps, and then there's a course coming out as well that I'm writing at the moment. So kind of delving more into that, which is fun because
so exciting.
It's been a tool that's changed my life, and I do that in my regular sessions with my soul sisters and with my clients too. I go through the 4 steps with them, and it's really started to be beautiful to get some feedback and see how it's changing people's lives, which is, gosh, it's amazing to think that this thing that I just started practicing is helping other people. So
it's because you're amazing, Steph. That's why. I'll put the link to your website underneath our interview, so anyone that's interested can pop on over and join your email list and get your beautiful A4 poster that they can keep in their handbag too. I love it. It's so exciting. You're doing great things, Steph. So just to wrap up, thank you. Just to wrap up, I would love to ask you one question. How would you like to be remembered?
Oh gosh.
It's a deep question.
That's a really big one. I think I would like to be remembered as someone who is authentic and who is caring and who, just wants to help the world and wants to help people, have a more ease in life and flow through life with more comfort. And, I want to be remembered as a great mum and a great wife and, someone who just shares that love that I have. So,
Oh, that's
yeah.
beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you so, so much for joining me here today. It's been so beautiful to chat to you. I could just chat to you for like ever.
Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun. I love it.
I'm glad. Well, like I said, I'll put all your links below so anyone that is interested and loves what you have to say and what you do and wants to find out more can head on over to your website and your social media. And just thank you so much for shining your light. You're just the most beautiful, beautiful person, and I'm just really, really blessed to be able to call you a friend. So thank you, Steph.
Oh, thank you, gorgeous. I'm going to cry.
Oh, don't
Wait.
cry. Well, thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day.
My
And
pleasure
yeah,
too.
I'm sure we'll speak again soon. We might even have to do episode 1B so we can continue on this beautiful conversation that we're having.
It sounds like fun.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Steph.
Awesome.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.